joining us now on France 24 is Ziad Baroud. He's the former Interior Minister in Lebanon. Thank you very much indeed for being with us tonight. First of all, I'd like to talk a bit more about Saad Hariri. Why is he coming to France? Does he not owe it to the Lebanese people to go back to Beirut, if only to hand in his resignation?
Well, we don't know exactly why and how he will do it, but it's a good step forward. And I believe that this is the first step before he comes to Lebanon. The final goal is for the Prime Minister to be able to come back to Beirut and to meet with the President of the Republic and discuss with him the reasons behind his resignation. So going through Paris wouldn't be a problem as long as the next step would be, or the next flight would be to Beirut. The fact is that France has played, and the French diplomacy has played a major role in maybe bringing this result to a good end, because somehow France was willing to play its historical, traditional role in the region. It's out of friendship to Lebanon and to Saudi Arabia as well, because France is the ally of both.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's almost as though France had to go to Saudi Arabia to kind of negotiate his release. Has he been held against his will in Riyadh?
How can we know as long as he's not in Beirut, back in Beirut yet, or in Paris? You know that his statements are limited to, general terms, and so far nobody can tell if he's really, if he's not free, or if he's unable to travel, or we cannot tell. And I think that we won't be able to tell unless he's back to Lebanon and unless he meets the president and explain the whole thing. Now, as far as the French diplomacy is concerned, it was a good move. It was a very helpful thing they did, and I think that going through Paris is only something normal, if based on what the French diplomacy tried to do.
What does all of this mean for the political situation in Lebanon right now? This very delicate power balance that you have in Lebanon between the Shiite, the Sunni, and the Christian groups who work together to form the government. What is all of this doing to that equilibrium?
Very negative impact. It's been a year or so that we have a president, a cabinet meeting. Things were back on track, and Lebanese people were feeling that things are moving positively. Now we're really in a situation where no one can tell what would be tomorrow like, and this is making people afraid, concerned. This has a very bad impact on economy, on people's feelings. You know, that's why we need the Prime Minister to be back to Lebanon as early as possible, in order to understand what happened actually, and in order to take the next step forward. That's what the president is saying. That's what's only normal to have. A Prime Minister who is resigning should do that at least with the president, and constitutionally we need to get things done properly.
Now, your neighbours in Israel are worried that the absence of Hariri and this political crisis is strengthening the hand of Hezbollah, and thereby Hezbollah's allies and backers in Iran. We saw today that the Israelis say they're willing to work with Saudi Arabia. What do you make of that? And is there a risk that we might see another conflict between Israel and Hezbollah?
Well, it's surprising. It's an unprecedented public offer from the Israelis to the Saudis. But I don't think that both are likely to achieve a clear and public diplomatic relations. This is too soon. as long as the Palestinian conflict is still ongoing. Of course, maybe the Trump administration would like to see both allies, trying to join efforts in order to be against Iran. But this is not what we care about in Lebanon. In Lebanon, we only would like to have stability. We're still in war with Israel. Saudi Arabia is an ally. It's an Arab country, and we have good relations with the Saudis. So I think that
Israel also has good relations with the Saudis, and they both Saudi Arabia, as we've seen under Mohammed bin Salman, he's making strong moves against Iran, and Israel, as we know, also is very worried about the rise of Iran. Your country is right in the middle of that conflict.
Yes, and that's why we're concerned, and that's why things are not as simple as they could appear. It's not the public offer of the cooperation that would make things easier or harder, but the fact is that Arab countries are, to date, at the exception of Egypt and Jordan, are not in peace with Israel, and therefore I don't know why we need to complicate things more. They are already complicated, and now, until now, the problem can be resolved in a more or less acceptable way. Our concern is Prime Minister Hariri and his freedom to fly wherever he likes to, and we are concerned as well with our relations with Saudi Arabia. We would like very much to keep those relations in their best cooperation possible.
Can you have good relations? Can you have good relations with Saudi Arabia if Saudi Arabia is more closely allied to Israel?
No, I think this would make things more complicated. Definitely, our relations with Saudi Arabia are historical. They are not new, and we, from our side, would like very much to keep them as they are, even take them further to a better maybe cooperation. This statement, if true, if taken to a further step, it will make things more complicated between Lebanon and Saudi Arabia, definitely.
Ziad Baroud, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.